Up next on the Day Beer Review, we're going to be looking at Goose Island's Bourbon County Cask Finish brand 2-year stout. This is made with our friends from Angel's Envy. This is one of the special releases from 2023, so we're going to go back and check that out. But with that, we're also going to be checking out this particular whiskey. This is Angel Envy's single barrel Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in port wine barrels. And this is coming at 55% ABV, or about 110 proof. And I believe this is about 17. So that's what's coming up. This one's gonna be a long one, folks. Up next on the Day Beer Review. Let's go. Hi, it's Rich, and welcome back to the Day Beer Review. And today, we're doing a special one. We're going to be looking at one of the variants from 2023. This is Goose Island's Bourbon County Cask Finish Stout. This is a 2-year stout, and it says made with our friends from Angel's Envy. And it says here that this year we are thrilled to introduce the newest addition to the Bourbon County family with our first ever Cask Finish Stout. Inspired by the innovations of our friends at Angel's Envy, we embarked on our journey to craft a truly exceptional stout. This stout was carefully aged in freshly emptied barrels that once held Angel's Envy Kentucky straight bourbon, allowing unique layers of flavor to intertwine with our stouts. But we didn't stop there. We then transferred the beer to second-use ruby port barrels, where it patiently matured for another year. This secondary finishing process refined and amplified the flavor of cherry, spice, and cocoa with our aged stout. Bourbon County brand 2-year Cask Finish Stout is a testament to our legacy as the originators of bourbon barrel-aged stout. Join us in savoring this remarkable beer, celebrate tradition, the innovation, and true craftsmanship. And you know, all of that I agree with, right up until this year's offerings came out. So we're going to take a look at this, and as always, Goose Island has packaged this beautifully. There's actually the story of Angel's Envy and the bourbon. I'm not going to go through that. We're going to open this in a second. The bourbon that we're looking at is actually from the cellars of Lincoln Henderson. It says it's Angel's Envy single barrel, and it actually says veterans anchored in pride. This was a gift. I am not a vet. So let's see, it says that it is 55% ABV, it is 110 proof. So we have Angel's Envy. Now, I have not really tried Angel's Envy in any meaningful way. So I'm gonna pour a glass of the Angel's Envy. And, you know, healthy little pour there. Now, this is, you know, cask strength, so this is, I guess, as it comes out of the barrel. And it is a very nice bottle. I don't know if you can see the wings on the back of the bottle, but I think that's pretty cool. And a bit high on the proof, but not as high as it could go. I mean, I have a review coming up for the, what is it? It's the, oh, I forgot. But I have a review coming up for one that's 124 proof. And I'm not particularly afraid of high proof whiskey. Now, the nose on this one is a lot of cotton candy. Very sweet. Maybe some cherry, like a maraschino cherry. But the nose is very nice. And, you know, you can see the legs. This really does adhere to the glass quite nicely. All right, let's give the Angel's Envy a try. And I realize I'm not using regular Angel's Envy. I'm using barrel strength or private selection or single barrel, whatever it is. I also realize that, you know, this is higher proof than average Angel's Envy, but this is the Angel's Envy I have. Let's see what it tastes like. I am getting that sweetness. Again, sort of the cherry, the cotton candy. And there's a very faint sourness that I'm associating with the port barrels that they age this in. Almost like that grapey sourness that you get from like a wine. And quite honestly, one of the reasons I didn't buy Angel's Envy bourbon was because I was afraid that would really affect the flavor of the bourbon and make me not like the bourbon. It's not as pronounced as I thought it was. It's much more sweet. It's much more that that cotton candy. Now, while we look at the beer, I'm going to tilt my glass on its side, let it aerate a bit, and then we'll come back to that. Assuming, let me put it between the two mats so it doesn't roll away. Now, I do have my official Bourbon County glass from 2016. You remember when the offerings were always good? Yeah, except for an occasional, skunk batch. Now, I have done this when it first came out, and again, the packaging is beautiful. For anybody who hasn't seen the packaging, the design inside is very nice. Inner flap that you lift up, and it actually says on it, brewed with respect for tradition within, what does that say? With a unique story to tell. These barrel-aged beers, these barrels and beers are meant to be shared. This was established 1992 in Chicago. Alas, I'm not sharing this with anybody tonight. And you have the double layer. The box is beautiful. I think the color they picked for this one, I know it doesn't affect the beer, but I do like the aesthetics. Let's crack this open. Okay. And wait. Oh my, I think I've scratched my glass. It's so sad. All right, let's give it a pour. It pours with a little bit of a cherry hue to it, almost like the color of the label right around the edges. Not a tremendous amount of head. Not a tremendous amount of carbonation. Does cling to the glass. And even now there's sort of this oaky flavor that's sort of filling the bar. Now, I'm sorry, I thought this was 17%. It actually comes in at 15.5, so my mistake there on the intro. Chocolate. There's a smokiness there that I don't normally get with the average Bourbon County. It's a really nice smokiness, but it is there. I'm getting a little hint of what I think is cherry, but it's much more like a dried cherry, almost a fig. And I know it's silly, but a little bit of that sour grapiness as well. Now, this was not my favorite from 2023. In fact, I remember reading and seeing all of the reviews of people who loved it. I thought it was very good. But for me, the winner of 2023 was the Eagle Rare offering. I thought this beer was exceptional, and I continue to think this was one of the best beers the Bourbon County has ever put out. It's probably tied with their vanilla, not this year's vanilla, which was, in my opinion, trash, but the original Bourbon County Vanilla Stout from, I guess that was like 2018. I thought that was epically good. But again, this one was very good. I just didn't think it reached the level of the Eagle Rare. And that may well be because of the casks that it was aged in. I thought the Eagle Rare had so much more flavor. The smokiness, the woodiness is there. There is that grapiness that's there also. It's really a lovely nose. Let's see what it tastes like after a year. Now, I remember what I didn't like was the sourness of the finish, the grapey finish towards the end of this. That's dissipated quite a bit. And quite honestly, this just has a nice sort of Bourbon County feel to it. It has a really good amount of chocolate, a lot of those dried fruits. I think edging towards dried cherry. There's that nice roasted aspect of the stout that's there as well. To me, this came in a very respectable second place in 2023. Now, I am getting just a hint of the sourness now, so maybe cumulatively as I drink this, it's going to it's going to become more obvious. Now, looking at my clock on my camera, we're already a few minutes into this. Let's go back to the bourbon. Now, again, I think this is very good. You've got a lot of chocolate. You have a lot of that roastiness. The dried fruit, particularly sort of a dried cherry. There's a good amount of sweetness there. There is a pretty good burn from the Bourbon County. It's actually surprising. The whiskey, which is 110 proof, actually has slightly less burn going down than does the Angel's Envy. So it's sort of interesting. Now, the Angel's Envy has had about 5 minutes to aerate. And yeah, now the cherry is much more prevalent. The ethanol has sort of dissipated a little bit. And what I'm getting is a much cleaner sort of dried fruit note to this, along with that sweetness as well. So let's see, has it... There's more of the sort of ruby port there on the second after it's had some time to breathe than there was initially. I get more of that sort of grapiness. Let's go back to this. You know, they're both very good. You know, and real quick, just to go back through this, the cost of this, where I picked it up, was about $100. The cost of this, where I picked it up, was about $40. So, you know, the big question is, would I get them again? I have to say, I have one more of these in the cellar behind me, essentially waiting another year to see. Do I think I should have purchased 3 of them? Well, I think they're good. I don't think they're the best of the batch, and I'm glad that I have way more of the Eagle Rare than I do of this one. The bottle was about 100. It might have been less than that, but let's say it was about 100. The beer was about $45 to $50. Would I purchase them again? I'm going to enjoy this bottle of Angel's Envy, and it'll last me a while because it'll be one that I'll share with friends. So was it worth the $100 for that? It was. Would I necessarily be hunting another Angel's Envy product based on this one? Probably not. It's good. It's not great. And I think I could get something for $100 that would be better. As far as this particular stout goes from Bourbon County, again, I think it's very good. Do I think it's great? I don't. I think the sourness on the back end of it, that comes, I believe, from the Angel's Envy, you know, not only aging in the Angel's Envy barrels, but also from aging in those port ruby barrels. I think that grapiness is actually is more of a distracting factor. The rest of the beer is good. I think just maybe since I'm not a wine drinker, it's just not exactly the flavor profile that I want from my Bourbon County, especially at $50. So, you know, would I buy this again if I saw it on the shelf? Probably. And, you know, like if you come across one that's out there in the wild, it's definitely worth picking up and trying, especially if you're going to share it with some people. That being said, if I saw this sitting next to an Angel Rare, you know, variant, and the Angel Rare was 60 and this was 50, I'd still spend the extra money on the Angel's Rare. As did I really say that? I would rather spend the extra money on the Eagle Rare than on the Angel's Envy variant. I think this is very good, but I think the Eagle Rare is better. And again, at $50 a bottle, you really want it to be something that just, you know, sweeps you off your feet, just knocks you out. And again, this is really good beer, but it's just not epic. It's not at that price point, in my opinion. The bourbon, really good bourbon. If the bottle had cost 50 or 60 bucks, epic bourbon. But at $100 a bottle, not exactly sure that I would hunt this one down again. Will I share it with my friends? Yes. And will some of them absolutely love it? I bet you they will. So again, if you're somebody who's more into that whole port wine thing, this might be just the killer combination for you. If you're somebody who's more of a bourbon traditionalist, and to me, Eagle Rare is very, very good for that idea of a traditional bourbon, then I think that this might be a little off your your flavor path, if you will. Is it good? It's very good. Would I buy it again? Probably not. Am I glad I have another one to check out in probably another year? Yeah, I am. And I definitely will check it out because it is an interesting beer, and that's sort of what I wanted from it. And again, this bourbon will not go to waste, although the bottle is oddly shaped for placing in my cabinet. But it'll get drunk, and people will most likely enjoy it more than I do. And that's the nice thing about the various palates that we all have out there. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe. I'd like to welcome all the new subscribers, especially if you made it this far into the video. Coming up, we're going to have more whiskey reviews coming to the channel. It's probably gonna be like every 2 weeks or so, but we'll keep the 2 beers going, and every once in a while you will get a full-fledged whiskey review, and this one may be coming up very soon as well. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time on End of the Day Beer Review. Cheers.